Hello Nigerians, this is a newspaper review here on TAF TV where we bring you newspaper headlines as they keep unfolding. My name is Benjamin Agbile and I'm your host for today. But before we hit the street, to hear what Nigerians out there have to say, I will be reading some of the newspaper headlines for today. We'll be starting with the Punch. And here on the front page it says fuel crisis, marketers projects. That will be found on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Federal government insists on sanctions for defaulting banks chiefs. The details of this will be found on page 23 of the Punch newspaper. Court declines to bar Fubara from spending government funds. The details of this will be found on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. 700 billion naira monthly subsidy. The details of this will be found on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Nigerian records $1 billion international transfer inflows in 3 months. The details will be found on page 23 of the Punch newspaper. Hunger protests. NLC warns against clampdown. The details will be found on page 16 of the Punch newspaper. Immigration officer. 3 others arraigned for drug trafficking. The details will be found on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Delta police arrest gunmen, recover 2 AK-47 magazines. The details will be found on page 4 of the Punch newspaper. Edo, a court upholds Igodalo's candidacy, fines Shuaibu 1 million naira. The details will be found on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Moving next is the Daily Sun. Security forces one sit-at-home promoters. The details of this will be found on page 29 of the Daily Sun. APC calls for Obaseki's impeachment over Nigeria will burn comment. The details of this will be found on page 28 of the Daily Sun. MPA rakes in 541 billion naira revenue. Remit 255 billion naira in first half of 2024. Cocoa. The details of this will be found on page 25 of the Daily Sun. Reps wade into Dangote. NMD PRA feud. The details of this will be found on page 6 of the Daily Sun. Moving next, here is the Nation's newspaper, which will have limited headlines on this front page. Edun, why banks should pay levy on forex windfall. The details will be found on page 2 of the Nations. And that will be all for the newspaper headlines as we hit the street to hear what Nigerians out there have to say. So today we see on this front page of the Punch newspaper here that says, hunger protest, NLC warns against clampdown. You know, we have been hearing this threat of the masses going on protest because of the hardship in the country. And today we have it on the newspaper headline here. What can you say about this?
It's very normal for the citizens of Nigeria to demonstrate their mind through the protest. It's very, very normal.
So we've seen a lot of protests from the previous years that we have not seen any protests that have come to any positive conclusion. Do you think that if this protest holds, would it yield any good fruit?
From what is obtainable in the country, you will realize that hunger, starvation is almost increasing every day by day. The citizens, the only way they can speak their mind is through these protests. If they realize without speaking their mind, I know that based on the past years, they have been demonstrating their mind, but nothing happened. But what happened of recent is something that every Nigerian needs to rise up and come out in mass to protest. And I believe that if we Nigerians come out in mass to protest, because what I realize is, from the past protests, what I realize is that it's just few group of people that came out to come and protest and speak their mind. But now if the general masses will take it upon themselves, said, okay, enough is enough, I think there will be a change in the country.
One last question before you go. We know we Nigerians, we have this lackadaisical attitude of I don't care. You understand? So a lot of protests have been called previous year, but you see a lot of people saying instead of me to go to protest, let me go to my business, let me go and find food. Why will I go and protest for a country that is not yielding any good fruit? So do you think this particular protest, if it happens, will it come to a positive conclusion?
Actually, what Nigeria practices is democracy, and in democracy, protesting is part of it. It's part of criticism. Is part of it. Are you getting it? For there to be a positivism in government, I think there must be a criticism. Are you getting it? So what I believe, if they will remove just like what you said, if they remove that lackadaisical attitude, if we come out, can anything happen? If we come out, can there be a change? If they can call that one a bygone and turn up in masses, just like what I said, there will be a change.
So what is your advice for Nigerians watching you right now?
Okay, my advice to
Nigerians watching you.
Okay, watching me. Okay, my advice to Nigerians, just like the protest that is coming up, I would say let it be a peaceful protest. Let it not be a violent type of protest. Nigeria is one. Let us also work in one accord. That is my advice to Nigerians.
All right, thank you very much, sir. We can see on the front page of the Punch newspaper here that says, Court declines to bar Fubara from spending government money. As we all know, was it last week or so, Martins Imewele asked the sitting governor, which is in person of Fubara, to stop spending the state government funds. What can you say about this?
Okay, having to comment as a Nigerian regarding this matter. First, I would say the rivers crisis has actually made a lot of rounds on a newspaper, and it's really not telling good about this present administration. Now, I'm speaking just like every rivers citizen. This present administration have actually gone through a lot of trials. This similarly Fubara's administration have actually gone through a lot of ups and downs. Just like every single Nigerian out here always say, it is because of how we came into power. Some persons are of the opinion that he wasn't actually a politician, that he was just handpicked, and that is why he's been controlled. And all of a sudden he wants to gain control over yes, he wants to gain independence, and that's why they're actually throwing stones at him. It is quite funny where some lawmakers who actually though I'm not trying to side a particular party now. You know, here in Nigeria legally we know there are two parties that rule. As long as you're in Nigeria, you know there are basically two parties. It's either you're for APC or you're for PDP. But in this particular matter now, that tends to affect every single Nigerian. You know, these revenue funds are actually our money. They are our taxes. Just like what this tax force are actually having, going around and taxing the people. Those funds are generated, are actually sent to the revenue fund. So we are commenting based on our money now. This is our money. This is our contribution to the state. So and it is the state governor that has legal right to that money. The state government and the state governor in quotes that has legal right to those funds. So it is quite funny where a lawmaker, I know it is their right, it is their sitting right to actually make laws and say, okay, this is how things should actually rule. But it is quite funny where the law states that, okay, if you actually defected to a new party by the constitution, if you actually defected from PDP to APC, whereas it was PDP that gave you the umbrella to actually rule, automatically your seat remains vacant. Now, that particular news looks as if it's not actually ringing bells in the ears of our defected lawmakers. They still actually gather. Now, I will actually borrow the words of our present House member, what's his name again? Okojumbo. He actually said it is actually illegal for them to even gather at first. Talk less of having to give a verdict or a claim to the governor that their sitting is actually illegal. Now, we are in a democratic society, and democracy has to show its strength. Democracy has to do with the people. If you're actually working in a democratic society and the people are not being involved, it's actually wrong. Now, that is a major problem we are having here in Nigeria, not just in Rivers State. but in Nigeria at large. Our leaders are actually working for their own supremacy, for their own democratic rule. That it has become the democracy of a personalized view. Okay, this is what I feel. This is how I should actually act, regardless of what the people out there will actually feel. Now, it is very wrong where our leaders are fighting. The persons we actually gave a mandate to rule on our behalf are actually fighting. Currently now in Rivers State, we have 2 houses of assembly. In a democratic world, we're actually having 2 houses of assembly. One passing rules in favor of an ex-governor. The other one passing rules in favor of the president's governor. It looks as if we are now actually structured. Now, it is quite funny when I hear news like this. I'll be wondering what people in other countries will be talking about. In as much as we're looking forward to Canada to jackpot to, but each time we get to generate news like this on the newspaper headline. Remember, this headline doesn't just end here. This is the Punch paper is actually an international paper that actually reaches the world at large. So it therefore means other states of other nations of the world are actually reading news that have been generated in our dearest nation, Nigeria. It's actually not telling good on us. It's actually not telling good. It looks as if, okay, back here in Rivers State, it looks as if we do not have a structured democratic rule. It is very wrong. So at this point where the court is actually defaulting the ruling, telling our governor to start spending the fund, it is very, very okay. I know at first, Amewele on his part is actually right. You know, he asked the governor to present the 2024 budget, and I present it again. You know, it was earlier presented in January. So our governor in his position said he will not present the 2024 budget. That what he's actually looking at is the 2025 budget. So now at this point, now since he actually refused to present that budget, Amewele gathered his men. I actually put it that way. Gathered his men and said, okay, since you have refused to present this budget to us, anything that has to do with the revenue funds should be suspended for now. You don't have right to actually spend money from those funds. He was actually right on his own part. And see, 2 rights cannot make wrongs. That's what we should actually look at. So and now we are hearing a ruling from the court that they have granted full access to the governor to actually have access to the fund. Now, I bet you in the next 2 to 3 days, you hear reactions coming from the pro-Wike's led assembly members, stating that, okay, what the court said is actually wrong. They start stating a lot of constitutions that they themselves... See, the truth is, we are only stating constitution. We don't actually carry out the act. See, our constitutions are like manual. It's not just like manual. It is the manual that should actually guide our steps, guide our decisions. Of late, we heard our senators, just yesterday, we heard our senators actually complaining that the presidency is actually taking over every decision, every single decision that the senators should take. It is the presidency that actually makes it happen. They no longer have a say as senators, as representatives of the people. They no longer have a say. It is really not funny where we are going to. Though we are looking at a better Nigeria, but we owe it to ourselves. We owe ourselves a lot of explanation. Why will I be in a state where we actually have 2 rules? I will actually put it that way. Okay, one is coming from this angle, one is coming from this angle, and they are both clashing in court. Every time we are taking ourselves to court. After election is court. Where are we actually going to? Well, no, it is quite funny. Since we actually gaining independence, sometimes I wonder the person that actually gave us independence, what they will actually be saying. Because after every single election now, we're going to court. Every single thing now, we all head back to the court, and it has now made the decisions of the court rulings to be false. Because, you know, last, we are humans. We are biased in our ways. we are selfish people naturally. Nigeria, when it comes to Nigeria, we are selfish, very selfish human beings. So at this point, you know, every ruling will always be in favor of the person that has the upper hand. So the court actually granting similarly Fubara free access to the state revenue fund is actually okay because it is right at first. It is right. In as much as it is also the right of a lawmaker to actually halt a governor from touching or accessing a particular fund. But it is actually nice, but for the peace and growth of this nation, let's actually dissolve a particular house and let this other one rule. You cannot have two captains in a ship, sir. Obviously, that's my take.
Sir, you have made a lot of valid points, but I will ask you maybe, let me say 2 or 1 question before you go. We know since this fight have started, we have not had a single comment from the presidency. Okay. You understand? And this person that is allegedly causing this problem, per se, is the person that is very close to the presidency. So, can we say this presidency is just turning a blind eye in favor of Wike because you have served your tenure, and the next person in line that is coming, you're not supposed to come and tell the person what to do. Rather, you give the person advice. And when you are advising someone, it is less for the person to make use of the advice or not. That is none of your business, but you have done your part. So we can see that Nyesom Wike is trying, he is the FCT minister and still wants to be a governor of the River State in disguise, and the presidency is not saying anything about this. What can you say about this?
Forgive me, but I would like to correct a particular notion. The presidency at some point earlier when this fight actually started, this crisis, we'll not call it fight, this controversy actually started. The presidency actually gave some few words. Okay, or should I say, let there be peace in River State, coming from the presidency. And secondly, Nyesom Wike, the man of the people, just like we always call him here in River State, we can actually see a lot of his footprints. Above here now, this is actually his footprint, the flyover you're seeing here now. So he's actually a man of the people, and I feel his people are still tied to him. You know, if you have been very productive, your people will like you for a long span of time. We'll take it back to our Senate president when he was governor of Akwa Ibom State. I bet you the Akwa Ibomites are yet to actually recover from Akwa Ibom. In as much as see, for the first time in Akwa Ibom, they didn't do the party thing. They love Akwa Ibom to they love Akwa Ibom to the moon. That's how I put it. So I feel just like the Akwa Ibomites love Akwa Ibom, the rivers love Wike. So I feel this thing actually boils down to this, so much love. And funny enough, if we want to actually have a peaceful and a democratic rule, we should stop electing people for the people. We should stop, I repeat again, we should stop electing people for the people. I feel the mistake our dearest ex-governor did was to actually pinpoint a man and expect that man to be loyal. And in his words, in one of the videos, he said he wants him to be loyal, like he. Now, in his words exactly, he wanted similarly Fubara to be loyal, but at some point, you know, we are human. Just like I said, we are biased people. The loyalty did not last. Hence, the conflict we're having. In as much as he himself has not said anything yet, I feel he's trying to just like we Gen Zs will say it, he's trying to keep his teeth. Yes. So at this point, he's keeping his teeth. He wants to maintain his fatherhood in River State. He's actually from Obiako here. We know he's from Obiako, and Amewele is also from Obiako. So just like every single Rivers member will say, this is like a family fight. And if you as a stranger decide to step in, you get burnt.
You get the fall.
All right.
Like they say, where two elephants are fighting, the grass suffers it. All right, you all have here what Nigerians out here have to say about today's headline. Do well to like, share, comments in the comment section for more videos like this as you keep dropping. Thanks for watching. My name is Benjamin Agbile.